Hey everybody, lots of people asking about travel plans. So in this video, we're going to cover some of the important aspects of travel at this time. All right, so what I'm seeing, what we're seeing in this travel is that, regulations are increasing and they're in different spots. They're different and some of them a little require more than other places. The other thing is that the cost, you have to bear the cost of, say, if you're required to do a test, then you have to bear the cost of that test.
Exactly.
Interestingly, you've got places in Europe that are less than half the cost of some of the South American countries. So you can see how uneven some of this pricing is, on some of this stuff. Some of these costs should be really low, but it looks like it's a profit center. So you've got higher costs and you've got potential delays, more delays, potential delays. So, but travel is still, doable. There's a lot of people that still want to move here and retire there. There are some areas though that are still they haven't relaxed their emergency for one reason or another. They had pre-existing issues going on in their country before this pandemic, and then after the pandemic they seem to take a much harsher stance on it, and and therefore they're continuing their lockdowns and state of emergency. So there's a few places like that are pretty difficult. Some places are not allowing any international travel at all still. Other places you can travel, but you gotta bring a test or you gotta take one when you get there. Other places aren't going to require one. Obviously, depending on who you are and how much of an inconvenience you're willing to, or I should say how much of an inconvenience you're able to digest, you're going to want to ferret out those places that maybe are not so cumbersome in their requirements. Having said that though, perhaps that wasn't really the area you really wanted to go travel, So that's the conundrum of this age, is that it's just that, yeah.
Our viewers want to go to Portugal or Ecuador.
Portugal or Ecuador, and right now Americans can't really go to Europe, and hopefully that'll get relaxed soon. But Americans provide a lot of tourist dollars all over the world. Yeah, so they're really a good thing for that. So again, you're just going to want to stay up on it because things are constantly changing. So if there's any particular questions as far as retiring, say like in Ecuador, I'm not sure if they're actually taking the applications or not, but you can always go for a visit, and in some of these other places too, like Central America. It just depends on the specific area that you're going to get. You want to check the All right, so specifically Ecuador, they're just about all of these Latin American countries really need the tourist money. So it isn't that some of them need it and some of them don't. They all need it. And I would venture to say that the tourist money is so huge that all countries would really appreciate that. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And so just like with anything else, just get the details on it and go ahead and proceed and go and see what you think of it when you get there, So
Hey Frank, has Panama opened up yet?
Panama has still not opened to international flights. The airport's still closed. They prolonged it another 30 days. And
Somebody just commented on our previous video and said that Australia's restrictions are tougher now.
yeah, some of these places are just making it harder and harder. And some of them are just, you just can't really, there's not anything that's written in stone. Things are just really volatile.
I wonder if they're going to even open up tourism again.
Well, it makes me think that had people gotten their foreign citizenship and residency in advance, and these are places that you can always travel to, so the late stragglers are the ones that are going to have a little bit more of a challenge. But it's not. Again, you just want to stay aware of the current state of affairs of wherever it is that you want to go. So
who would have known this was going to happen?
nobody had any. I imagine there's just a very small, tiny percentage that had an insight that kept up on these kinds of things.
Another commenter said, I am going to come to Italy. Right now, in the USA, my house expenses are 60% of my finances, and I'm going to come to Italy and lower that.
Well, again, anytime you go to what's understood to be a Western country, expenses aren't level. They're not the same everywhere, like just as in the States. If you're from a major metro area, you can head out into the Midwest or some of the smaller towns and get much better cost of living. And you don't even have to go to the Midwest. You can just head out of the major metro areas and go out maybe 200-300 miles and go to smaller metro areas. All right, so in respect to cost of living, a lot of people do go abroad for that, and we're a testament that we're doing it. So, but as you may know, if you've been following our channel for a while, and I do hint from time to time that it is a skill. There's ways of doing it, and it isn't automatic. It's not just showing up and it's cheaper, because cheaper is relative. If you're intrigued and you want to know more, consider our course. It's very inexpensive for the value that you get out of it. And so even just knowing it, even if you decide, that you decide, okay, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this, just knowing the information will help you. And so consider our course, where we give you all of our tips and tricks of the trade that we've brought with us and added to over the last 10 years. So the kind of information that will allow you to make things happen just like we do. But just as in the States, you've got high cost of living, low cost of living. And the thing about the States, I started to say, is that they do have, it's a pro and it's a con depending on how you look at it. But the reason I'm saying it is that in the States, it's homogenized. You can go to a town of 10,000 and still get to the big stores. The towns in the States don't have too many little shops. They do have some, but when you go abroad, it's a complete opposite. It's like 98% little shops and then a little bit of big stores. So the complete opposite. But what that does is it puts you in a position where it's in the States, it's predictable. You know what to expect. But when you come to these countries and you just think, well, I'll just go out to some small town, then you've got a different situation where you've got to really be able to be on the ball with how you do things. And so you may have noticed, some of you longtime fans, we haven't mentioned Ram magazines too much lately, and that's because nothing has really changed with that. We got a little distracted with current events, but everything we've been saying all along about avoiding the crowded tourist circuit, which is what the Ram circuit becomes. It becomes one huge tourist-priced retirement area. And one of the silver linings of this latest events is that of 2020 here this spring, is that it has kind of cut into the tourism, and so it may be a good opportunity for prices to remain somewhat soft at this point. It just depends on where it is, of course, because that it's a huge tourist magnet. You know, we've made so many videos about, it's not just about saying, oh, come to this area. Now that only works when there hasn't been anybody else saying that area. In other words, you're the first ones. But the minute you start showing up, you know, things change quite rapidly price-wise because of those things. And I've even made videos saying that even if you're the only one, if you don't have the information in our course, you will be the one that it's happening to, even if you're the first guy. And you may not even realize it. And your experience is going to be colored by your situation, that you don't have the inside knowledge that we possess and are willing to share with those that are serious. So, you know, everything's not doom and gloom. You just need to know the score and what's actually happening, and then make an informed decision. We've always said that, and our channel, it may sometimes sound like something that it's not, and so that's why, to be clear, it's educational and informational. So you want to be informed and educated, this is the channel.